The American Revolution ended in 1783. The 13 colonies had won their independence from Great Britain. They were now free to chart their own destiny. But the path ahead was uncertain. The newly formed nation was fragile. It lacked a strong central government. The Articles of Confederation, adopted in 1777, proved inadequate. They created a loose alliance of states. The central government was weak. It had limited powers. It could not tax. It could not regulate commerce. It could not enforce its laws. This weakness led to chaos and disarray. States quarreled with each other. They printed their own money. They imposed tariffs on each other's goods. The economy faltered. The nation seemed on the brink of collapse. There was a growing sense of urgency. Something had to be done. The survival of the nation was at stake. A stronger national government was needed. One that could unite the states. One that could provide stability and security. The Articles of Confederation, while a bold experiment in self-governance, were ultimately doomed by their own shortcomings. Conceived in an era deeply suspicious of centralized power, they erred too far in the direction of state sovereignty. The result was a central government rendered impotent by its lack of authority. The Confederation Congress, the governing body under the Articles, possessed no power to levy taxes. It could only request funds from the states, which often refused. This left the government chronically short of money, unable to pay its debts or fund an army. The inability to regulate interstate commerce further crippled the fledgling nation. States acting like independent entities erected trade barriers, levied tariffs on each other's goods, and printed their own currencies. This economic chaos stifled trade and hindered economic growth. The lack of a strong executive also proved detrimental. Without a president or executive branch, there was no effective way to enforce laws or implement policies. By 1786, the inadequacies of the Articles of Confederation were glaringly apparent. Shays' Rebellion, a revolt by indebted farmers in Massachusetts, exposed the fragility of the young nation. The inability of the Confederation Congress to effectively respond to the uprising sent shockwaves through the newly formed Union.
The situation is dire. We need a stronger national government to maintain order and protect our liberties.
Indeed, General Washington. The current system is simply not sustainable. We must find a way to balance state sovereignty with a unified national authority.
Absolutely, Mr. Madison. The call for a convention to revise the Articles of Confederation is our best hope. We must act now.
In May of 1787, delegates from 12 of the 13 states convened in Philadelphia. Rhode Island, deeply suspicious of centralized power, boycotted the gathering. Little did the delegates know they were about to embark on a historic journey that would reshape the course of American history. The summer of 1787 saw an assembly of remarkable minds in Philadelphia. 55 delegates, representing a cross-section of American society, gathered in Independence Hall. They included lawyers, merchants, planters, and physicians.
I am honored to preside over this convention. Our task is monumental, but together we can achieve greatness.
I have prepared a plan for a new government based on the principles of separation of powers and checks and balances.
Gentlemen, our work here will define the future of our nation. Let us proceed with wisdom and unity.
Other notable figures included Gouverneur Morris, the eloquent wordsmith who would ultimately draft the final text of the Constitution.
The delegates to the Constitutional Convention faced a daunting task. They had to balance competing interests and forge compromises on a range of contentious issues.
The debate over representation in the legislature proved particularly divisive. Large states favored representation based on population, while small states demanded equal representation for each state.
The issue of slavery also loomed large. Southern delegates, economically dependent on slave labor, fought to protect their interests. Northern delegates, many opposed to slavery, grappled with the question of how to address this moral dilemma.
The nature of the executive branch sparked further debate. Some delegates favored a single, powerful executive. Others argued for a council or committee to share executive power.
The convention proceeded through sweltering summer months, marked by heated debate, passionate arguments, and moments of both frustration and inspiration.
One of the most significant achievements of the Constitutional Convention was the Great Compromise. This ingenious solution resolved the deadlock over representation in the legislature. Proposed by Roger Sherman and Oliver Ellsworth of Connecticut, it created a bicameral legislature. The House of Representatives would have representation based on each state's population. This appeased the large states. The Senate would have equal representation for each state with 2 senators per state. This satisfied the small states. The Great Compromise ensured that both large and small states had a voice in the new government. It prevented either group from dominating the other. This compromise was crucial in securing the support of all states for the new constitution. It stands as a testament to the power of compromise in a democracy. While the Great Compromise resolved a major obstacle, the issue of slavery continued to cast a long shadow over the convention. Southern delegates, fearing domination by the more populous North, demanded that slaves be counted in determining representation in the House of Representatives. Northern delegates opposed this, arguing that slaves denied basic rights should not be counted as full persons for purposes of representation. The Three-Fifths Compromise, a deeply flawed and morally reprehensible agreement, emerged as a solution. It stipulated that 3/5 of the slave population would be counted for both representation and taxation purposes. This compromise, while temporarily averting a crisis, enshrined the institution of slavery in the founding document of the nation. It would have profound consequences for the future of the United States, ultimately contributing to the outbreak of the Civil War decades later. Section 8. The Constitution's journey from debate to ratification. After 4 months of intense debate, the delegates signed the document on September 17, 1787. The Constitution, a radical departure from the Articles of Confederation, faced an uncertain future. It required ratification by at least 9 of the 13 states.
A fierce battle erupted between Federalists and Anti-Federalists.
Federalists, led by Hamilton, Madison, and Jay, argued for a strong national government. They published the Federalist Papers to sway public opinion.
Anti-Federalists feared the Constitution gave too much power to the federal government. They raised concerns about the lack of explicit protections for individual liberties.
Section 9 involved the Bill of Rights, securing fundamental freedoms. One of the most compelling arguments advanced by anti-federalists during the ratification debates was the lack of explicit protections for individual liberties in the Constitution. They feared that a powerful national government, unchecked, might infringe upon the freedoms so recently won in the Revolution. To address these concerns, Federalists promised to add a Bill of Rights as amendments to the Constitution. This strategic compromise proved crucial in securing ratification. In 1791, the first 10 amendments, known as the Bill of Rights, were ratified and became an integral part of the Constitution. The Bill of Rights guarantees fundamental freedoms such as freedom of speech, religion, the press, the right to bear arms, protection against unreasonable searches and seizures, and the right to due process and a fair trial. These amendments stand as a testament to the enduring importance of individual liberty in the American experiment. Section 10. The enduring legacy, a testament to compromise and vision. The U.S. Constitution, a product of intense debate, passionate argument, and remarkable compromise, stands as a testament to the vision and ingenuity of its framers. It established a framework for a new form of government, one based on the principles of separation of powers, checks and balances, and federalism. The Constitution has proven remarkably adaptable, weathering the storms of civil war, economic depression, and social upheaval. Its enduring legacy lies in its ability to balance the rights of individuals with the needs of a strong and cohesive nation. The principles enshrined in the Constitution continue to shape American governance and inspire democratic movements around the world. Section 11, a living document, the Constitution in the 21st century. More than 2 centuries after its ratification, the U.S. Constitution remains a living document, subject to interpretation, debate, and amendment. It continues to evolve as society changes, reflecting the dynamic nature of American democracy. The Constitution has been amended 27 times since its adoption, a testament to its ability to adapt to changing circumstances. Each generation of Americans grapples with the meaning and application of the Constitution's principles to contemporary challenges. Debates over issues such as gun control, immigration, and privacy rights often hinge on interpretations of the Constitution. The Constitution, a product of its time, continues to provide a framework for addressing the complex issues facing the nation in the 21st century.